me talk to you.
Welcome back, guys, to Dad and Son Wrestling Reviews. I'm Son and that's Dad. And today we're going to be reviewing the Raw after Elimination Chamber.
First of all, a shout out to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, as always. Through his sacrifice, we have been washed clean. That gives, allows us to enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus' impact in our life has been incredible, and it would be wrong for us not to share that with others. So we'll leave a description in the, we'll leave a link in the description, for our church Family of the Rocks. And go visit it, get the word of God into you, and any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. Or better yet, get a hold of a Bible and have a read for yourselves. On to Raw. Episode starts with a recap of everything that happened in Elimination Chamber. Obviously, if you're a follower of the channel, you would have watched our assessment of the Elimination Chamber. Good, bad, and ugly, of course. So it just recaps everything that happened. And then we have the Vision straight out. No entrance music or anything like that. They've been doing that a lot, where they just cut straight to the Vision being out and about in the crowd. Well, yeah, not in the crowd, but like the entranceway or around the ring. They do the same today. So the Vision was out and about, essentially just wanting a piece of Seth Rollins.
And then one mystery man came out, and a second mystery man, and a third mystery man, and a fourth mystery man, and then Seth Rollins.
Yeah, so essentially, masked men come out. First of all, it was Logan Paul ran off, I believe.
No,
chasing
it was the security guards.
No, well, security, and then another one. Then I think it's Logan Paul runs through the crowd chasing one.
Yeah.
Then Austin Theory runs off chasing one, and then Adam Pearce and security are out, stop the fourth one or third one. And then as that one was standing there getting pulled away, Seth Rollins sneaks up from behind, takes his one off. You see it as Seth, and then he hits Paul Heyman with a chair, and then follows that up with a stomp.
And it made it look like he was bleeding.
Yeah, so he's done a blood spot. Don't know if he bladed or if he used some fake blood. He then is. Yeah,
it didn't really look like.
Yeah.
It was too red.
Yeah, so he's then escorted out the back, put into an ambulance. Theory is pretty much Theory and Logan Paul are there. Logan Paul says he's going to go get the car to follow him in the ambulance. Theory says, bangs on the door. I'll see you in a bit. Goes to get into a car. It's, of course, Jimmy Uso. He comes out attacking Austin Theory, throws him through some backstage gear and stuff like that. He then heads up to the ambulance. Then you find out it's LA Knight behind the wheel. And he says he'll take it from here and drives off with Paul.
And just like, and how's it like? Vince getting destroyed. And
so they did the spot essentially where Paul Heyman's being kidnapped, and it's a comeuppance for the Vision. We then go straight into Gunther versus Dragon Lee. How would you rate this match?
7.
Yeah, these guys, they gave him time, sort of the playoff for what everything's going on. So very high quality match. Dragon Lee got some great spots in. Gunther looked monster heelish, strong, just chopping him away, doing all sorts of stuff.
And he ripped the mask off.
Yeah, so it ends with Dragon Lee getting a bit of offense, looking like he might be able to score a sneaky win. And then Gunther locks in the choke, sleeper hold.
His mask off, and then he taps.
Yeah, so he starts to play with the mask as he's choking him. And Dragon Lee, of course, being a luchador, can't have that happen. So taps out, and then Gunther takes the mask anyway. So the ref...
He doesn't. He just leaves it in the ring.
Yeah, but he takes it off him.
Yeah.
And then a towel comes in with the ref. Ref puts Dragon Lee's face in the towel, obviously, because obviously he doesn't want people to see him on television or in the crowd. So Gunther just walks away, kind of, just happy with himself. Both guys look great. Gunther continues on. Hopefully this is the end of this. It gives Dragon Lee a bit of sympathy and all that sort of stuff. He stood up for his mate. Maybe that segues into him having a program with somebody else, mid-card belt level, and Gunther can start his run to WrestleMania with whoever that's going to be, and I hope it's not Dragon Lee.
Yeah.
These two wrestled well, but Gunther deserves somewhere near the title top. Or maybe we get the rumoured Rey Mysterio. Maybe Rey Mysterio's had enough, and he's the next in line to be career killed. And he comes, obviously he's aligned with Dragon Lee through LWI and the Luchador stuff. So maybe this segues into it, and you can go from there. We then moved on to a backstage segment. There were plenty of these again. WrestleMania season, as long as they make sense and they build into matches, they're fine. But the weeks following, leading up to Elimination Chamber, they were just all over the place and just dragging on shows. So this one was just Asuka having a go at Kairi Sane. Obviously upset about the Elimination Chamber results. And then she sort of freezes in the spot after she gets yelled at. AJ Lee pops in. Kind of makes a joke like, I'll blink twice if you need help and all that sort of stuff. And then obviously Kairi Sane runs off with Asuka and that. We then cut to Austin Theory coming out, having a promo, challenging Jimmy Uso to a match. They essentially go, he says he'll see him in the ring tonight if he wants to do all that stuff, but the vision had nothing to do with Jey Uso, is what he's saying. I believe that too. I think there's someone else in the background doing that.
Trying to blame them because they're the big heels, and then it's actually a babyface who did.
Yes, I wouldn't.
Jacob Fatu or something.
Okay. I think we get that at some point in the next 2 weeks, and that'll obviously line up with a match for Elimination Chamber. We then had an AJ Lee promo. What would you rate this one? 5. You liked it?
Kinda.
No, I thought it was boring as hell.
It's just challenging.
Yeah, she's just saying there's so many people at the back she wants to take on. She talks in this sort of a roundabouts way. I was kind of hoping someone would step straight up and then we'd walk straight into something for next week. Instead, it was she challenged people to step up and challenge her for the title, and then just went out the back. I was hoping the promo would have been better if someone had come out and faced off in the ring, and then we get that anticipation of who we know is next type thing. We then had we had Penta and the original El Grande at the back. El Grande saying that the original saying, "Hey, I got you next. Best of luck. Take out Dom." Obviously, there's a lot more stuff happening in AAA. So if you're not following AAA like us, it doesn't hit as hard because obviously there's content that they're trying
to fight each other so much.
Yeah, but they're sort of been loosely aligned over in AAA and stuff. And like I said, unless you're watching AAA or reading results and stuff like that, you're not really going to get it. You will get the next bit where El Grande, the imposter, as some people are saying, sort of gets in the face of the original. And then that leads to a match, and it's the original versus Rayo Americano. How would you rate this match?
5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because the shenanigans and everything like that. I'm kind of just over the whole Jade Gable at least being the original Americana type thing. I'd like him just to go back to the suplexing machine type scenario. It's kind of I don't know. When you got real luchadors on the roster, why not give some real luchadors? Where you got four fake luchadors in this.
They're the best ones on the show.
Well, I wouldn't say they're the best, but they're the ones getting the most television time. So the original Americano wins. Obviously, there's some shenanigans. Goes all wrong for the other three.
And he does like that roll up, back up the chaotic.
Yeah, that German suplex where
Corey Graves says chaotic.
Yeah, it's quite the move and it takes a lot of strength. We then had a Liv Morgan hype video, just hyping WrestleMania, saying she had the best trainers and all that, and that's why she's a star. really feeding into that that promo that Stephanie Bearcare did on her. Then we had a Penta hype video, essentially subtitled because obviously he spoke it in Spanish, so he could try to get his point across. And then we moved into a Natty interview. They did one of those ones from the sort of in that staged area in the crowd.
Yeah.
She pretty much just gave to Priest the 1-2 through the camera, saying that she never should have trained her and never deserved to be in this, and she doesn't belong there, type thing. And then we had Rusev interrupt proceedings on the announce table. Challenger Oba Feami. Oba obviously comes out. He doesn't back down. He's in the ring. He tells him to get in the ring. He does, and then they just go blow for blow. Big meat. Oba gets the best of this exchange and sort of stands tall.
A choke slam thingy.
Yeah, he's copping a few kicks to the head, reverses it with very similar to the Bobby Lashley type that when they run into and he powers them up into that choke slam type power slam type thing. So it looked great. These two look great. I look forward to this match. I know for a fact Oba Femi's going to go over. He's the new Flash toy on the program, but Rusev will. It'll be hard hit. They'll have a good match, so it'll be fun to watch. It actually got me excited watching this because it was a bang, big guy, so that was great. Yeah. So this is This will be Oba's first match where it won't be a squash. Hopefully, we could see him on the main roster do a 15-20 minute just hard hitting match. Obviously, go over because you're still building him. But Rusev might give him a run for his money. Maybe he can even do 2 or 3 matches with this one if you really want.
Maybe do it a simulation next one.
A stipulation match. Yeah, you can have the normal match and the stipulation because Rusev didn't like losing and he's Bulgarian street fight or something. Who knows? Then we had Jimmy Uso versus Theory. What would you rate this segment? Yeah, because of who comes out. They don't get into the match too long. Theory's already kind of on top. Jimmy starts to fight back. Logan Paul comes in, gives him the 1-2. That leads to Jey Uso sneaking out with crutches and that. Slides into the ring, but then you find out he doesn't even need him. He just whacks him with him anyway. And the Usos stand tall. So I think maybe that could end up our WrestleMania program because
they have the Vision finally getting some gold.
Yeah, I think you got a tag match there. But you got LA Knight, unless they're predicting Bron Breakker back from his resting period, and then you get Bron versus Seth Rollins finally, and then Logan Paul and Austin Theory for the tag titles. Otherwise, you're going to end up with Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they work into this. So there's plenty there. It's even though there's been a lot of injuries and it hasn't worked out. Now there's a bit of interest because it's like, where do you go? And I like that. You want that little bit of unpredictability in your lower card matches for WrestleMania. You want to know what your main events are, and we'll know that after SmackDown this week. But yeah, just that moving around and stuff like that. Elimination Chamber did a massive reset because things weren't working. Ticket sales were down, crowd sales were down, crowd reactions were down, nothing was working. So they've just gone bang, and they've just gone, no, we got 6 weeks, let's just build this, let's switch it all up. And this Raw made it work so far, has made it work so far. We then had a Danhausen segment at the back, giving a list of demands to Adam Pearce.
And said he dropped it in the toilet.
Yeah, it was all. This is the comedic stuff that you'll get with Danhausen. You'll either like it or you won't. Finn Balor and Dom and JD kind of made it work as well because they sort of walked into him and had a bit of back and forth. And Danhausen cursed Dirty Dom. So that's the first cursing he's done so far.
Except for the WWE universe.
Yeah. So that's good because it leads into something later on in the night. You can play off this where he goes into a spiral and blames Danhausen for things. We then had Javon Evans promo. This was fun. I thought this was funny. I thought this was fun. He was obviously just being himself and just it came across as just a nice young bloke with plenty of energy. This was another one like the Natty one earlier, where he's in the crowd, just and he's just sort of saying he's coming for everyone type thing.
He said that I've been in there with I've been in the elimination with legends. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Trick Williams, and Elena. Logan Paul was still.
So he took a shot at Logan Paul. We then went into a Rhea Ripley promo. Essentially, this was a way of they've shut up shop with the Rayo, and then she's going to go to SmackDown, and she's going to have a word with Jade Cargill this week. If the dirt sheets are to be thought of as correct and not getting worked over, there's some serious heat between her and Jade. So they'll obviously feed off that. Hopefully, it stays professional when they actually get their hands on each other. But if it is, if it is looking like it is in the Twitter back and forths and stuff, it hasn't been very pleasant. And for someone that's only had one title defense, us Australians are obviously going to stand up for the other Australian and say, get your act together because she's going to run through you. Some heat also because Rhea Ripley's in another main event, but when you got injuries and your original pick couldn't make it back in time, you're going to go with someone that you think is going to sell tickets, and she's one of the most popular merch sellers. There's a huge contingent of the crowd that just loves her. They get excited when her music hits and all that sort of stuff. So you're going to have to. You've used up your other top pick with Liv Morgan to take on your new Flash camp on Raw. You need someone, veteran, someone with an established base to take on the other Flash toy that you got on SmackDown. Otherwise, these title reigns are just going to be for no reason. You know what I mean? I think Jade goes over. But if you use Rhea Ripley to catapult that.
Maybe Io Sky tries to help, but it works out bad.
Yeah.
Then they do that referee to SummerSlam.
Yeah. Not a bad idea. And then we finally got to the main event of the night. Penta versus Dirty Dom. How would you rate this one?
A main event, but
main event, the last wrestling match of the evening. How would you rate this one?
6-7.
Good match. These two did well. Dirty Dom looked great. Penta looked great.
Penta went over.
Clean. Dirty Dom tried shenanigans towards the end. JD went to help him. Finn Balor said no. He said he was going to do it on his own. So that obviously kicks off. There's obviously going to be some sort of situation with him and Dirty Dom leading into WrestleMania.
Probably because Dan wasn't cursed.
Yeah. So that so that was a great match. Not sure about taking the IC title off him, but you could do the rivalry with Finn Balor without it, and it gives Penta a reward for all he's done on the main roster so far. And then you can just have Penta do a similar thing to Kamala Hayes, where he just has matches every week, and it'd be great. And then we had the Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, come out. He obviously was coming out with a promo, massive pop. Crowd loves him. He went to ask the crowd to acknowledge him, and then CM Punk cuts off anything else and comes out. Roman Reigns, they go a bit back and forth. Roman Reigns looks like he's going to get the last word in. Some pretty passionate stuff. I think there is some real life tension there. I don't blame Roman Reigns. I've made my thoughts on CM Punk since his return clear. I didn't like the way he managed himself in AEW, and by the things you hear about the talent there. And I don't know, there seems to be a little bit of, I think we're seeing his true colours. Some of the stuff that people said about him when he left the company originally seemed to be coming through as quite true. Obviously, everybody else is going to have their opinions and decide, what they're going to believe and what they're not. And then as he goes to walk away, CM Punk grabs him by the arm and says, "Well, you've said this stuff. I'm going to have my say now." Gives him a mouthful back. None of it's too on the nose. It's just more. He loves to talk about himself and how people follow him, CM Punk, and how he's done this and he's done that. He has a go at Roman saying, "Where's your cousins? Where's this? Who's we?" Which is could be a little bit of an underlining hint. Maybe we get a return of the final boss in this scenario. Who knows? Because there was a lot of we from Roman Reigns. and then made said he was going to bury him next to his father, which I found a grotesque line. There's no need for you can have personal jabs at somebody without having to go at death and the deceased. But CM Punk seems like the sort of bloke that will hit you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if his morality is as thick as he likes to believe people about him. So I wasn't a big fan of that one. I thought, he could have just gone, "I'm going to bury you." That's it. Doesn't have to mention the father. Whether this is approved or not, we'll find out in the future, I guess. But yeah, your thoughts?
5.
5. Yeah. Not as good as the first promo, but definitely get some heat. I look forward to this match.
I hope Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it's one of those matches where you got a clear person that you want to win. Obviously, other people will have somebody else. But it's been a long time since I've wanted Roman Reigns to have the top belt and to win something. Even when he was Bloodline and stuff like that, I wanted Cody to finish his story. I liked Cody because he created a company that I enjoyed watching. And then I thought he's done this nice thing. It's time for him to get his just rewards and get that big time in front. The thing that his father never was able to get, and enjoyed that story. I then enjoyed the story of the triple threat, and the Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns sort of tension, and that tension with CM Punk and Seth Rollins stuff as well. So obviously, one main event is going to be action packed and great. We're still yet to see where the other one goes. Even though we've got Randy Orton there, we now have a title match at SmackDown. Do they swerve us again, or does that turn into chaos and we get the rumored 5 or 6 man match that the dirt sheets are talking about? Who knows? We'll just have to see where things go. So how would you rate Raw overall? 5. Yeah. Good Raw coming out of Elimination Chamber. Reset a lot of things. Crowd was receptive as well. Hadn't been for a long time, so you could tell things were different. As if you get that impact through the crowd into the TV audience, then you're doing the right thing. Otherwise, it can be a real hard show to watch when you're doing 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and you can't see the crowd reacting to anything either. And we can tell when you pump noise in now because the crowd doesn't react to the same noise. It's pretty obvious these days.
With AEW being like
they got small
100%, and then Raw and SmackDown just being 4%.
Yeah. It's The problem with the big arena is you got to impact it just as much when compared to the other companies with smaller arenas at the moment, to come across really nice as a TV product in terms of people at home will react to things that people in the crowd react to. That's why the Danhausen thing was such a problem, because the audience didn't react the way that they wanted for the Danhausen, and now they're pushing themselves uphill to make sure they get him over. But anyway, thank you to everyone. We hit 10,000 subscribers, which is an incredible number. We can't say thank you enough. That's just me and my son talking on a webcam, which is incredible. So thank you very much for that. We are truly blessed by God. So thank you for that. And you guys watching and subscribing is living proof of that. Anything from you, big guy?
Mwah. Okay.
Out of time.